I never actually sent this to anyone. I think I started writing it because I got tired of hearing the story told back to me in simpler ways. You overreacted. Or it was just a misunderstanding. Those versions are easier for people. Cleaner. But the truth is slower than that. The wedding had already been moved twice before anyone officially stopped pretending they were coming. At first, there were reasonable conflicts. Work schedules, school calendars. One cousin had a newborn. My parents said airfare was getting ridiculous. My sister kept saying next year would have been easier for everybody. Nobody ever said my wedding didn't matter, they just kept describing it as difficult. After a while you start translating those things automatically. Difficult means optional. I remember sitting with Leah one night at our apartment table while she finalized seating charts. Half the family side looked hollow. She tried to make jokes about it. Less money spent on chicken dinners, she said. I laughed because she needed me to. But I could already feel something shifting in me back then. Not anger exactly, more like embarrassment. The kind that arrives quietly when you realize people are coordinating around your absence without admitting it. The ski lodge charge showed up on a Thursday afternoon while I was at work. $30,900. Aspen Ridge Lodge. At first I assumed fraud. Then I saw the additional charges roll through. Lift tickets, equipment rentals, group dining deposits. The dates matched our wedding weekend exactly. I just stared at the screen. Years earlier, after my father's surgery and a bunch of messy family travel problems, I'd added relatives as authorized users on one of my rewards accounts. It became one of those things nobody revisited because I was good with finances and didn't really care, which was true, until suddenly it wasn't. I didn't call anyone immediately. That's the part people don't understand. If I'd exploded right away, maybe it would have been easier to dismiss me as emotional. But mostly I sat there trying to force the charges into some explanation that didn't make me feel stupid. Maybe it was a mistake. Maybe somebody planned to pay me back. Maybe they were still coming to the wedding afterward. Then my cousin posted a photo that night. 6 people in the airport already. Caption: Family ski weekend finally happening. I remember feeling physically cold after reading it, not devastated, just removed from myself for a minute, like watching your own role in a family become visible from outside it. Nobody had technically abandoned me, they had simply organized joy somewhere else. The next morning my mother texted asking whether we still wanted the espresso machine they'd planned as a wedding gift. I almost admired the normalcy of it. I wrote back, "Are you guys at Aspen Ridge?" No response for 3 hours. Then, "We were going to explain later." That sentence changed everything for me, not because of the trip itself, because later meant after the wedding, after the photos, after the inconvenience of my reaction had expired. I contacted the card company first, calmly. I explained that authorized usage had exceeded agreed conditions and that the reservation itself had been placed without direct approval from the account holder. The representative transferred me twice before Fraud Review flagged the booking for verification. Then I called the lodge. The property manager sounded uncomfortable almost immediately once ownership of the payment became disputed. There wasn't yelling, no dramatic threats, just policy. That's the strange thing about authority when it finally enters a situation. It often sounds boring, procedural, effective. At 7:18 p.m., my sister texted me. "Did you seriously do that?" By then I already knew the reservation had been suspended pending payment confirmation. The digital room keys had deactivated. Guests had been asked to wait in the lobby while management sorted things out. I sat on the edge of my bed reading her message over and over. Leah was in the kitchen steaming wrinkles from her dress. I should have been thinking about vows. Instead, I was thinking about how nobody had called to ask if I was okay. Only how the lodge got shut down. I typed, "This is just the beginning." People think that line means revenge. It didn't. It meant boundaries. It meant I was finally noticing how many systems in my life existed because I quietly maintained them. Phone plans, streaming accounts, emergency cards, automatic renewals, tiny invisible acts of support, everyone treated like weather. The wedding happened the next afternoon, smaller than planned, still beautiful in places. One uncle showed up unexpectedly halfway through the reception. He hugged me too hard and avoided eye contact with Leah almost the entire evening. I think shame brought him there more than love. Maybe that still counts for something. After the honeymoon, I spent 2 evenings going through financial accounts one by one, removing authorized users, changing passwords, closing shared access. The house was completely silent while I did it. No satisfaction, no dramatic sense of victory, just grief mixed with relief, like finally admitting a relationship had been over long before anyone said it aloud. The last thing I removed was my parents' travel rewards profile from the account. My finger hovered over the confirmation button longer than it should have. Then I clicked it anyway, not because I stopped loving them, because I finally understood those weren't the same thing anymore.